In the stream you're about to see, I'm going to showcase you step by step how to install OPNSense Firewall and also how to install a domain controller using automated scripts generated from Claude AI. Now, all the scripts I use during this series are going to be open sourced in my GitHub, and you can also take a look at the GitHub repository into that video's description. There, I'm going to upload all the snippets so you can replicate and utilize everything for your own environment. Before starting the stream, I just want to say massive thanks to all of my patrons for their support. And if you appreciate my work and think that's beneficial and useful, you can also support me by becoming a patron. By doing so, you're going to get access to internal tools, videos, documentation, and much more. Welcome back. Let's build up some Active Directory environment. And I have to start with a failure because in the past video, if you watched it, thank you. Uh, in the past video, what we did is we installed a firewall, OpenSense Firewall. And I was dumb enough to actually lose the root password. And I was thinking about ways of maybe retrieving that or resetting it with the login access. But it turns out that it's going to be easier if we just do quick installation of brand new firewall so we can go easy from it because we already know how it happens. And then we're going to move on into the domain controller itself. Yeah, so my bad, totally my bad. If you missed the previous video, no worries. We're going to install the firewall again now. Yeah. After the firewall, we're gonna then also install a Windows 2019 server, which is gonna be our domain controller. And we can get the things going and running. Right. All right. So what I can do is open LSEC.LOCAL folder and essentially wipe out everything beside the ISO file. I want to save the ISO because, of course, you're gonna need it. Then do new virtual machine. Then next. Then specify the image, which is already there. Okay, then do something like firewall, like that. And of course, specify the right path to the firewall. In my case, that's vms lsec.local firewall.lsec.local. So essentially, all the files are going to be there. Yeah, I hope the music is fine now. If the music is loud, let me know. All right, so next. Yep, let's go next. Now the size, I think for the firewall for testing lab environment and vulnerable environment, I think 100 gigs is fine because at the end we're gonna have snapshots. My space is not unlimited, it's a lot but not unlimited, and with snapshots and so on, I think 100 gigs is fine. Alright, next, customize hardware. Now all we're gonna need here is, since that's a firewall, it's quite important asset, I'm gonna essentially put that to be 4 gigs. And CPU is gonna make 2 cores, so essentially 2 CPUs. Now I'm not sure if that is better or that is better, or it doesn't make any difference. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think about that configuration. Then we're gonna need to have 2 network adapters. Why? Because first network adapter is gonna work as a bridge. Essentially, I've already outlined that here. First network adapter is gonna work as external adapter, my other network, and then we're gonna have the internal adapter, which is gonna be for the internal network, and that's gonna be about like we're gonna mimic a real network scheme. Let's call it like that. And I know that's not as real as easy as it can be, as some of you might point in the comments, but this is gonna be after all a testing lab. Okay. So for that case, the external adapter, which is gonna be this one there, in my case, it's gonna be bridged. So I can put that to bridged. And then for the internal one, I essentially need to add one more. So I'm gonna go add, network adapter, finish. And now here specify it to be VMnet 19, because that's the VMnet I already configured. Now it's also important to disable that. We don't need any graphical acceleration. And everything should be fine after that. Now I'm not gonna power on because I just want to make sure what my settings are. So I want to do edit virtual network editor. Yep, you can see this is the internal network, and there you can see the IP is 172.16.16.0. Yeah. All right, so yeah, run it. Let's see. Let's see what happens. I think we can speed run the installation now. I'm gonna also take a look at the chat. If you guys have some questions. All right. Yeah, if you have questions, don't mind to always ask. We can stop, explain, and so on. So yeah, if you have questions, always go for them. Now the installation should be fast. I generally enjoy. I didn't believe I'm gonna say that, but I enjoy the OPNSense Firewall installation process. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out that you essentially need to log in as a different user. But yeah, I'm gonna outline that now. So we're gonna have a quick speedrun installation, so we can also we can have this thing going fast. Yeah. All right. So two interfaces detected. That's fine. I actually don't need that. And I think we also need an SSH at some point, because what I think is my plan is to automate this process as much as possible in terms of scripting. So when we go, I don't think with the firewall that's applicable, but I guess as soon as we get up to the point of creating domain controllers, setting up services, making users, making ACLs between them, that can be automated. That can be done with PowerShell. And I'm gonna vibe code a lot here, because at the end, I want to have GitHub documentation where all the scripts are gonna be, so you can pick up a script from your side and adapt it to your environment, if you say. So the idea is to not, of course, mimic everything, because not everyone has that resources, but to embed what is possible into your environment using scripting, so you can run one script and make your environment vulnerable. So that's gonna be the main part. All right, so here we are now against the installation process, and now in order to use the firewall as a run only, we can log in as root. But if you want to install persistent in the firewall, then we need to use installer and log in as that user. So I'm gonna log in as installer, and the password is OpenSense, like here, but all small case. Then after I log in as that user, now the installation process can begin. Now the default map is fine, that's US, so select. I'm not sure about these options, to be honest, but as far as I saw from videos on YouTube and from documentation, at least if you don't know what we're doing, as I'm not knowing now, I think it's better to go for ZSH, because it's the most stable one. So we're gonna go for the first one. All right. Then we're not gonna have any redundancy, because it's a testing lab. We're gonna specify the only hard disk we have. Yes, I'm sure. And now the installation starts. All right. Now, while that takes time, we have a question. Unrelated, or maybe I'm jumping the gun, but I'm struggling to understand delegation and the differences between constrained versus unconstrained, and why would the use of it even be by like a regular admin? All right, so we have some time for that. That's fine. That's fine. We are waiting either way. So I can draw that, but where's my mouse? Come on. Yeah, okay, there it is. All right, so let's do a new Canva. All right. So when it comes to, we have three types of delegations essentially. We have, let me zoom in. We have the unconstrained, right? We have constrained. Right? Yep. And we also have resource based. All right. So what they are intended use essentially. So when you have the AD, you have a bunch of objects. And the way AD is built is that each entity inside is considered an object. So essentially an object of the AD might be a service account. An object can be the DC. The object can be machine account. An object can be a user account. An object can be an ACL. You get the idea. So each and every entity inside the AD is treated as an object for the Active Directory. And since it's an Active Directory, it relies on global synchronization and working with different objects together. So this object needs to have some kind of a way to communicate with each other and to trust each other. So that's why we have ACLs, which are access control lists from different objects, and essentially we also have the delegations. So the delegations, as far as I see it, I might not be 100% correct, but that's how I see it, guys. If you have better explanation, just pinpoint in the comments. Is a way to impersonate different users over the Active Directory or on the Windows system. What I mean by that? When it comes to the unconstrained, that means that an object here, most likely that can be a machine account, but it can also be a user account, so that's the most obvious thing. And user account. When it's typed unconstrained, that means that this is unbounded trust from every single machine onto the DC, from every single user, and this machine is extremely trusted. Now, usually when it comes to normal use, we have unconstrained delegation flags set up onto the DCs, because DCs are the system that are all there for the system, and they are all trusted by any other system for that domain. So you can essentially explain it to yourself like unconditional trust. Right. And by trust, I mean also impersonate. Yeah. For the constraint, essentially what you have is, again, trust, or we can say, we can define it as a trust, as a local trust, but specific to bound to object. So for example, here, when a machine account is marked as unconstrained delegation, every object onto the whole Active Directory unboundedly trusts that system, or that machine account, or that user account, or the DC, of course. But when it comes to constraint, essentially we can have multiple objects. Let's say we have user account. We will also have maybe a machine account. Right. And then what we have here is specific trust between these objects. So for example, if we are there, let's say on that machine, something else, PCX, essentially we need to somehow, in order to exploit this kind of trust, we need to somehow land into the specific user account which can have this thing, and we can only compromise that machine account. For instance, if we land into a machine account or machine which is marked as unconstrained delegation, we can compromise any system on that Active Directory, including the DC. I already have a video about it. It's about relaying and getting the hash. So it's quite easy. So if you take a look and compromise unconstrained delegation system, you own the entire domain. Easy win, and so on. If you compromise an object which has constrained delegation to specific object, then you can compromise that object, and only that and nothing else. Right. And a resource-based constraint is, as far as I see it, the same as constraint, but only applicable for machine accounts. That's how I see it. Because with constraint, this can be against different users. So this can be user account 1 and user account 2. And they can have some kind of a constraint delegation one to another. But when it comes to resource-based, that's how I see it. It's the same thing, but essentially with a machine account. Right. And as mentioned, you can have this machine account compromised, but only that. Now, usually that can happen with various ACLs. This can be most often generic write or generic all, or there are also more access rights, which describes this kind of delegations and attacks. But essentially, that's how I see them. When it comes to unconstrained, this machine or objective compromise is globally trusted. You can compromise any other system on that domain, including the DC. When it's constrained, you can compromise the object you have the constrained delegation access to. And when it's resource-based, it's same as constraint, but it's applicable to actually machine accounts. So that's how I see it. Yeah, hope that makes sense now. Hope that makes sense. And if you have more questions, especially for the unconstrained world video, I have a book about it. So I hope it makes sense. Yeah. All right. So now we need to. I'm gonna change the root password later, so I'm gonna do complete install because we're gonna have access to a web UI. And with the web UI, it's gonna be much easier because I can copy paste. Okay, let's see. Now the system should reboot. Then I don't think we need to configure much about it. Just the interfaces for now. For now, but let's see. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. Okay. It's booting now. Move that a little bit. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Now the idea is that after we assign the interfaces, then I can start to build up the domain controller because we don't need to configure the firewall now. We need just to start going to go through the wizard, through the basic config, and then we can start with the DC itself. Yeah. Okay. Come on. Let me put up the music a little bit higher. Hope that's fine. Yeah, hope that's fine. And why is taking so long? Maybe because now it cannot find the right interface? I'm not sure. It should not take that long. Yeah. Hope everything went fine now. In the last video we have some issues with the firewall until I figure out that I actually need to log in as non-root user. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Now I can log in as root and again OPNSense as a password. There it is. Okay, now what I need to do is option 2, set interface IP addresses. Now, wait. I don't think the first one is the one. The first one is the external one. That's weird. Shall I swap them? Let me try. Okay, go to one. Yeah, I want to DHCP there. No. 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 Uh-uh. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, now it's fine. Now that's the. But yeah, they're swapped. I need to replace them, guys. Or can I do a sign interface? Yeah, maybe go with option 1 first. Okay, no WAC because I don't know what that is. No V1s now. Okay, so the external interface is gonna be EM0. Right. Okay, that's fine. And now the... Oh wait, I did not go do it. No. Now the external one is gonna be EM0. And the internal one is gonna be EM1. Yeah, that's the one. Alright, so here... Yep, that's fine. Yep. Come on. Oh, it's gonna take some time. Yeah, let's see. I'm sure that we did the right interfaces now. Let's hope that we did. Yep, there it is. Okay. Fine. There it is. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna set interface IP addresses. We're gonna set the IP addresses for the internal interface, and that's gonna be no DHCP, and the IP address is gonna be 172.16.16.16. I think it's easy to remember. And then we're gonna go with 24 subnet. So 24 or 16. I think 16 makes sense because at the end we need two domains, right? Now, so let me go with 16. All right. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I didn't need. I should have done this to know, but never mind. Do I want DHCP over the internal one? Yep. The start address is gonna be 172.16.16.100. And the end range is gonna be 172.16.16.200. That's gonna be the DHCP range from which they can receive IP addresses, the clients. Do you want to change the web UI? No. HTTPS is fine, and no new certificate is also fine. Okay. All right, there it is. Now the firewall should be accessible to that interface, or ideally over the external one. Let me try to access that. Nope. Now, if you cannot access that, wait, let me do it like that. I'm trying to access it now like that, but you can see it's not working. And the reason for that is because the OPNSense by default allows traffic to the web UI only on internal IP and not the external one. So for that reason, I'm gonna go with 8, the shell, and then here do pfctl -d to disable the firewall. And after the firewall is disabled, then I can go to advanced and then access the firewall. So I'm gonna do it from there as well. Here, like that, advanced, all right, and there it is. Now we log in as the same password, root OPNSense, and there it is, we have the firewall. All right, now here, what's that? Oh yeah, the wizard, all right. Now, the idea is to go through the wizard, so I'm gonna go next, then hostname is gonna be firewall, domain is gonna be LSEC.LOCAL, language is gonna be English, time zone, EST, yeah, okay, so it's fine. DNS server, I think placing itself as a DNS server is fine, like that, and also 1111 as an external DNS server as a fallback. Alright, next, I don't need to disable the external interface, that's not needed. Next, that's fine. Next, what's that? Okay. Next, root password. Yeah, that's where I made a mistake last time because at the end, essentially I forgot the password. That's why I'm gonna use password manager, which you cannot see, but I can see because that's how KeepPassXC works. It's quite badass because even when I stream, you cannot see what I'm typing. So I highly recommend it. So for the root password, I can generate one randomized one. Yeah, like that. Okay. Yeah, I see the password. Yep, there it is. Apply. All right. Now I have it. That's gonna be it. Next. And that's fine. Now apply. Perfect. Okay. Now, do I need to log in each time it boots? That can be a pain. Because the password is so big now. Okay, never mind. Alright, we have the firewall. Now since we have the firewall, ready. Now we can proceed into actually starting a domain controller. So how it's gonna, yeah, it's already broken. Can I do it like that? Yeah, there it is. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now what happens is that I need to install a DC. And now the way that's gonna happen is I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna do File, New Virtual Machine, Next. Then I'm gonna specify the Windows Server I have. Moment. And the Windows Server there. Yeah, there it is. We're gonna use 2019. It's not that outdated, but it's not the newest one. So I think that's fine. All right, use it. Next. Then here we're gonna go with, I'm not sure, standard core. Let me ask GPT about it. Sorry guys, I'm not sure about that one. We have this Windows Server data center core or standard core. Standard core for most domain controllers. We use Windows Server data center only if you need even many VMs on that host. Nah, it's not the case. You need advanced features, like, nah, that's not the case. Okay, that's fine. So in that case, we're gonna go with standard core. Type password. Do we need to create one now? Yeah, I think okay. Administrator or admin. And again, keep us XC for the win. Okay, that's funny. Let's do it like that. New entry. Right. Right. Yep, there it is. Okay. Next. No key for now. I don't think we need a key. That's gonna be testing that. I'll show that message. DC01. Let's do it like that. Right. Is it like that? Yeah, it's DC01. Yeah, perfect. Makes sense. Okay. That's gonna be again not on the network part. Sorry. VMs, LSEC.LOCAL. Not the firewall, but now we need a new one, right? So in that case, that's gonna be on the VM and LSEC.LOCAL. I'm gonna do a new folder, DC01 LSEC.LOCAL. We're gonna paste it there. Next. Now again, size 70, 80 gigs is fine. So I'm gonna go with 80. That's a DC after all. Then the hardware specs. Now here we need at least 4 RAMs, add bare minimum, 2 CPUs, add bare minimum. I'm gonna go with 4 actually. I have Ryzen, it can bear some aggression and bear some usage, I wanted to say. Now the network adapter is gonna be the one only. That's gonna be the one we specified. And ideally speaking, after the DC is connected, ideally speaking, you should have the ability to communicate with the firewall on the internal interface. Yeah, finish and let's go. There it is. The virtualized settings are not that slow, by the way. It takes much more time if you install the Windows Server on bare metal rather than using a virtual machine. That's what I know. So that's not gonna take that much time. Let's see. At least we have Firewall, right? Oh, next. All right. Yeah, see, usually that step takes a lot of time, and now it's done like that, which is super nice. What I also think is to maybe make a nice architecture for documentation, because I'm gonna use Claude for doing all the scripting and stuff to set up a domain and install that and give it a name, a DNS server. I'm quite sure that can be automated. I'm quite sure that can be automated. So let me first install the VM and see what happens. Maybe I'm gonna do a new structure, a new project on GitHub where I'm gonna upload all that. Let's see. Yeah. Sure, guys. I'm thinking of maybe doing an Obsidian project that can be for the GitHub. And on that Obsidian project, I can connect Quad to it. I think that can also be beneficial to you guys. See how that happens. I can use Get Shit Done to plan out everything and save everything and walk everything instead of me manually trying that. So I think that also can be beneficial. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I can automate everything. That's my plan too. It's not the idea is not only to automate, but the idea is to automate and document. Because at the end, I want to have a GitHub repo, which is going to be open source, by the way, where you're going to have these scripts, AI generated, and essentially you can run based on your need different scripts to make or enhance or make your environment vulnerable. So that's gonna be about it. Yeah. So I'm just thinking about how to approach that, and I think the most logical solution we have is to have a GitHub project to be local as an Obsidian folder, and I can connect Quote to that same folder, and maybe operate from there. Oh, yeah, surely. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. Let's first start the thing going. You can just next first DC and copy PS command and just edit it for others. Yeah, I mean, for the first DC, you still need to use the server manager though, and I hate the server manager. But when you need to manually do it via the GUI, you need to open the service manager, click specific setting, then do, let's say, install domain controller active services, something like that. And then you need to do next a bunch of times. I'm sure this can be easily automated. Easily. So ideally when you do it manually, you need to go with maybe add or yeah, tools, and then find the exact option and then spam next like 10-15 times and you're gonna have a DC. But that's not gonna be the idea. We want to have automation. So for that case, I can launch Quad here. Let me first try it bare metal, see how it goes. And if that's successful, which I'm sure it is, it's gonna be, then we can go with a dedicated project where I'm gonna be uploading all the contents and so on. All right. Yeah, we need VM2s in order to make copy paste. Let's see. Copy paste is gonna be essential here, guys. Oh yeah, but one test I want to do before that is, since we are on the same network, I can try ipconfig, and my IP is not okay. I can ping the firewall though, so it's fine. Oh, because it's the subnet. Yeah, we need to locally set the IP, because that's the subnet mask, and that was the IP assigned from DHCP. Yeah, so that's fine. We can reach the firewall. Firewall can reach us, so it's all good. All right, come on. Yep, restart. Yeah, without that, I can also quote about it. So let me do it like that, and go here, and do like that. Hello. I'm always polite to the AI. So when they take over the world, they're not gonna be so rude to me. Oh, hello. I want to build intentionally vulnerable Active Directory. I just installed Windows Server 2019. Is it possible to turn it into a domain controller only with a PowerShell script? If so, I want the script to have two arguments, one for the domain name and one for the why two? Yeah, just one argument. Also, I need the PowerShell script, set up the DNS server and the ADNS. All right. Uh-huh. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Let's try it. All right. So here login. Uh-huh. Yeah. What was the password? Hmm. There it is. Now I save everything. All right. There it is. The service manager. Please tell me we can copy paste. Please tell me. Ah, shit. Ah. Oh, wait. There it is. There it is. Nice. Okay, perfect. Perfect. That's fine. Now it's better. Can we ping? Yeah, no external connection, but that's fine because at the end. But do we need external connection for the scripts? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think modules should be embedded, unless we need to install different modules. Never mind, let's see. Yeah, sure. Setting up vulnerable AD lab is a great way to learn about that. Yeah, that's fine. Yep. Usage. Domain. Perfect. Yep, should be possible. Told you guys. So that's the script itself. I'm gonna pull that to GitHub. So with that, I should be possible to do something like notepad invoke domain dot -1. Let's call it like that. Oh yeah. Now I need first do it like that. Then open notepad there. Or notepad post or code. Let's open code. I think it's gonna be better. On that. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, it's not that long of a script, by the way. It's for sure not that long of a script. Oh wait, I copied everything. Wait. Why everything? Huh? Yeah, that's more like it. Okay. Yep, save. And now, ideally, I can do invoke domain. What was the syntax? Oh, wait. And of course, we need to rent this admin. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, run this admin. Yep. CD home. CD desktop. Yeah, domain name. Yeah, perfect. In that case, that can be LSEC.LOCAL. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, we need to set up the static IP first. Yeah, we need to do that. So let me open the firewall, guys. We need to do that. I've never worked with OPNSense before. I'm not sure where to find that. It should be, I think, in the interfaces, assignments. Nope. Devices, yeah. Nope. Should be DHCP, right? DHCP. Yeah, so that's the range because we have huge subnet. But I want to essentially set up the static IP of the DC. To not use DHCP, right? To export it. Okay, DHCP options, releases. Yeah, there it is. Okay, perfect. Dynamic. Add reservation. That's what I was looking for. That's the host. Okay, now that host with that IP address is going to be 172.60.60.50. Let's call that 50. All right, save. Apply. Okay, I like the search box. I like the search box so much. I enjoy it. Now, administrator password. What's that? You can add text for scripting PS ICE. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you can also do it like that. Doesn't matter. Another password. All right, let's generate a new one. Let's use that. Oh, it even hides the password. Crazy. Okay. All right. New forest. Okay. Verification of prerequisites for domain controller promotion failed. The local administrator account becomes the domain administrator account when you create a new domain. Whoa. The new domain cannot be created because the local administrator account password does not meet requirements. It's not that bad. Currently, the local administrator password is blank, which might lead to security issues. It's not blank. This is definite. Oh, wait. Yeah, this one there. All right. Yeah. Okay. Not the one I did, but the local administrator one. Net use 1.2. Now, where was the annoying option for the local admin account? Well, net user. I don't know about the syntax. Net user. new password, and press enter. All right. Since that's gonna be the DA, I'm just gonna, just for a second, guys, do it like that. Just for a second. Mm-hmm. 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 All right, perfect. Now what I'm gonna do is bring back the screen and run the same script. Because now yep, there it is. Now, like that. All right, so Windows Server or 2090 domain controller have default the security settings named the local graph algorithms. Yep, that's fine. That's fine. And again, an error. Ah, okay. Okay. This password there. Now should be fine. It did not have a number before. Looks better now. Looks so much better and easier than just clicking next and finding options on the UI. Mm-hmm. Login as LSEC/administrator. Nice. Operation complete successfully. Yeah, script is fine, guys. Script is really fine. It worked right off the bat. So we first need to set up the local admin password and then provide strong password for the safe service, which is something I want to write code. Now here I can do, please modify the script to first check if the local administrator account is in use, or is it possible to change to say it like that? Or we can just do it like that. Now modify the script to contain two more parameters. First for the local and the future domain admin password, and second for the, what was that service, by the way? I like quote. Oh, it's so nice. Does LSEC mean it's online now, or what does it mean? No, it doesn't. It's I mean, it's a domain local on my network. What do you mean by online? Yeah, and for the DSLM. Yeah, that's fine. That should be it. Yeah, I guess we have a domain now, guys. Then after we have a domain, I need to also check the IP address because we statically assign the IP address on the firewall, which I need to again disable now. Or I need just to make a rule that it's accessible from anywhere, just for now. Let us call about it. Mm, how to make a OPNSense firewall rule that by default allows access to its web UI over the from one address. Yeah, let's do it like that. Yeah, I know that. Firewall rules one, then that, and then do this thing here. Yeah, okay. Let me try it out. Let me try it out to make that rule. So first I'm gonna do disable the firewall because it re-enables it constantly. Then go to firewalls, then rules as Claude mentioned. I'm gonna just put that here for now. Alright, so it's firewall rules 1. And that should be LSEC.LOCAL, by the way. Yeah, there it is. And now it should again be blocked, right? Because on each apply, the default settings are restored. No, not here. Here. All right. Yeah, okay. So firewall rules 1. All right, so firewall rules 1. There it is. Okay. Now add new rule. Yep, there it is. Action pass. Interface is gonna be there. Direction is gonna be in. IPv4. Let's do TCP. Then let's do source. Quote says any is not alright, but for now any is fine for our case. Now let's just stick to any. Destination is gonna be one address site. Oh wait, one address. Sorry, just like that. Then verify. Yep, destination is this firewall. Does it have that? Oh yeah, it has. Okay, perfect. Perfect. This firewall. All right. Destination port range that can be HTTPS. Yep, 403. That's fine. We want to allow only that traffic. And I think that should be it. This should be it. Save. Yeah. And apply. And in theory now it should be accessible all the time. But doesn't look like it. Or it's still thinking about it. It doesn't think it worked, by the way. Doesn't look like it worked. Nope. Yep. It should be enabled, right? Yeah, it should be enabled. Protocol IPv4 from any source on any port, destination this firewall, port 443. I think we need to edit it. To not specify this firewall, but one address. Yeah. Yeah. Let me try it like that. Why changes? Up. Did it work? No. Yeah, right. Let me think about that for a second. Why doesn't that work? Strange. That's weird. Okay, never mind. Let me take a look at the DC. Yeah, there it is. LSEC/admin. Perfect. Now do the password. All right. Let's see. Incorrect password. What the hell? I think it should be administrator, not admin. Yep, there it is. There it is. We have a domain, guys. Easy with one script. That's it. No need to spam UI options like crazy. Now, oops, not that, my bad. Yep, who am I? Do ipconfig. The IP is exactly correct, that's fine. Do hostname, and now the hostname is not alright. I need to ask Claude to modify that into a script. So for that to happen, also after the installation, I walked in as the DA, but the host name was not changed. Also add a parameter to it. Yeah, okay. Now, do we need to also automate that? Yeah, let me change the hostname. I think we need to change the hostname. Or is the server manager again? Manage tools. Wait, what if I do? What if I do that? That's weird. That's super weird. Sorry, I don't remember how to oh yeah, server manager local computers. All right, let's do it. Local computers? Where is that? Local server, you mean? Ah, here, yeah. It's easy. Thanks. I was about to ask AI. Okay, change. Okay, DCO1. That's gonna be LSEC local. All right. Okay. Let's start. Of course, we need to have patience, guys. We need to have patience. Okay. Now let's fix the firewall problem. That's gonna be the last thing we do for today because we've already been streaming like for an hour. Let's see. Let me foresee the firewall. I hate that I need to disable that each time I want to engage with the firewall. I just hate that. So okay, so then back to the quote. This rule did not work. I cannot connect the firewall unless I do pfctl -d. Yep. The IP is fine actually. IP was fine. IP was exactly what I wanted because I configured it from the firewall DHCP server. Block private networks. If one is behind another router, it can be. Go to interfaces 1 and block private network. Okay, interfaces 1 and block. Oh yeah, there it is actually. That's the case. Okay, save. Apply. Tell me it's gonna work now. We did. We did. There it is. Now we have access to the firewall. So it's already enabled and we finally can access it. And see that these dashboards. I like OPNSense. I like OPNSense. Alright, perfect. So we needed to block that. That's fine. Party time. Let's verify we have the DC running. So I'm gonna also go there. LSEC administrator, type my passwords. Mhm, mhm. There it is. And now if everything is fine, I should be able to do hostname. There it is. And it's lookup, DCO1, LSEC.LOCAL. Yep, there it is. Now, ideally speaking, should we use, I think we should use the DC as a DNS server, right? I think that's the most logical thing. Uh, I think that's the case. Yeah, we need to use the DC, not the firewall. Yeah, that's the case. So it's normal that here we specify localhost because the localhost is the DC itself. So it makes sense. Nice, we have everything configured now. So we can start building groups, domains, we can start building reproducible users, unreproducible users, and all that kind of fancy stuff. But what I can say is that I need to make a structure in GitHub, a private, not private, a dedicated repo for all the things that we do as an automation, so I can upload it there. And then we can start building things one after another. But at least we have a DC now, and we have the firewall going up. So we don't need to log in more into the console, we can use the UI access. Yeah, with that being said, I think I'm gonna close the stream now. We've already been doing that for an hour. So I want to thank you guys for the participation, for the questions, for the feedbacks, and for the helping you give me. So really appreciate it. And I want to also say massive thanks to all of my patrons for making this work possible. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much. And I'm gonna see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye.